Awesome.
Hi, everybody. So this is really exciting. We are here to talk Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And it'll be really interesting. My friend Trevor at How to Love Comics joined me for Doctor Strange, and we were able to talk about both the comics and the movie. And so he's back here again from Australia. And you want to introduce yourself? Say hi.
Hi, guys. How you going?
You explain your website a little bit and what you do?
So, I'm from How I Love Comics. So it's all about helping people who want to get into comics or want to know much about comics get into them, and sort of, because it can be a bit confusing sometimes, like what's the difference between a Batman and a Batwoman and a Batgirl, sort of figure all that kind of stuff out, and what to read and where do you find comics, all those kind of things I try and explain and make it as easy as possible for people to get into them, because they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, they are, and we became friends when you helped me when I was trying to kind of dive in, because it is very intimidating, and there's a lot of, because I bought a whole packet, but it turned out it was from the wrong era, and it wasn't as good example, and I don't know, so you kind of have to have some direction.
Yeah.
With these things. So
yeah, not everything's just like movies. Not everything's good.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, I'll have all that information in the description section. If you guys want to check out his Twitter and website, you should definitely do that. And so we're going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. We're going to start talking about the comics first, and then we'll talk a little bit about the first movie and then the second movie in more detail. So what was your familiarity with these comics when they announced the movie? Were you familiar with them, or were they kind of new to you, or where were they at for you?
When they first announced the very first Guardians of the Galaxy, it was one of those things where not many people actually really knew about them, even comic book readers. Mm-hmm. They were sort of this obscure little franchise that didn't really get used much. They had used them probably maybe 5 years beforehand for something that ran for about 25 issues, and it was one of those things where it was up in the corner where it didn't involve the X-Men and Fantastic Four or the Avengers, so people didn't really know it existed, especially in sort of the modern equivalent. Mm-hmm. But then when they sort of announced the movie, they made a pretty concerned effort to get comic book readers jumping on the comics as well. In terms of, they got a pretty big name writer, big name artist to launch a new series, and that was quite popular, and I jumped in on that, and it was pretty good in terms of learning who's who and who's who and sort of the different concepts, while still remaining familiar with what's happening at Marvel at the same time. So it was a good jumping on point, yeah.
Yeah, they were only around, I guess, for 2 years originally. What I read, 2008, 2010. So they're pretty new too.
Well, the name has been around for a while. Where in the 60s they had something called the Guardians of the Galaxy, but it looks absolutely nothing like it does now. It's all these weird characters. One running around with a captain. It's set in the year 3000, and it's sort of one's running around with a Captain America shield, and no one really paid much attention to it. Their longest, they popped up every now and then, like in the 70s and the 80s. So there was a
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, and there was a popular run in the 90s, but it seems to be only diehard fans who really know about it, really.
Okay. So did they ever interact with any of the other franchises, like your Avengers or your X-Men or anything like that?
A little bit, but it'd be a sprinkle of one issue here and there. So maybe every couple of years they might pull them out of the drawer and decide that they want to use them again, or if there's some kind of weird time travel story.
Okay. Would you say that they're somewhat similar to, say, the Big Hero 6? In kind of obscurity and how well they were known and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, I would say Big Hero 6, where that wasn't probably, I reckon Big Hero 6 is probably a bit more obscure because they didn't really use that much at all.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd say very much off in the corner. Not many people really liked it that much, or the people who did it was very much a cult following kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that it was interesting reading them. I didn't like them as much as Doctor Strange, personally.
Oh, fair enough.
As far as the reading the comics, and I don't know. I just thought that Doctor Strange was more funny. I just related more to that character, and I don't know. Maybe just because I had like preset expectations of what they were going to be like. So whereas Doctor Strange, I didn't, because I knew nothing about the character and I hadn't seen a movie. Whereas this, because I had seen a movie. And I don't know, like I just didn't find it quite as sort of charming and funny as I thought it was going to be in the comics, but I still liked them. I mean, they were fine.
Yeah.
But I was surprised how mature they were. Like I was expecting, and to be honest, we're going to talk about it later, but this second movie I actually thought was kind of pushing the limits to me for Marvel. I thought it was pretty raunchy. And so I guess it's somewhat accurate to the comics. Because I don't know. To me, it seemed pretty mature, the content.
Fair enough.
I
mean, there's a bit of violence, and you got Rock Raccoon sort of doing sort of made up swear words and
some sensuality too in there.
Yeah, a little bit of that, yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know, it's interesting. What do you think of these comics? Do you like them, not like them?
Yeah, I enjoy them. I recently did an article on sort of the 6 Guardians of the Galaxy comic stories you should read.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done a bit of reading recently, and they're quite enjoyable, and it's sort of interesting to see because there's not actually a whole lot of them. It's good to sort of see where you can find other corners of that franchise where it might be just the introduction of one of the characters back in ages away, and then they grabbed them and then put them in the team. For instance, Drax, the very first appearance of Drax was actually in an Iron Man comic back in the 70s, which also happened to be the first appearance of Thanos as well.
Okay.
So it's sort of like they're like little gems, finding little gems sometimes. Because a lot of these characters came from, they grabbed them from unused ideas and then popped them together and created a team.
Do they have kind of set villains like you have in some of the other properties, like that are Guardians of the Galaxy villains, like you have Spider-Man villains, or you have?
Not really. They've sort of been more. They've grabbed like previous things, sort of spacey villains that Marvel has mostly. For instance, like your Thanos or particular species of aliens and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They do have sort of ones that they've used like one-off, but there's no real recurring villains as such.
Okay. All right. Well, that is basically all the questions I had about the comics. Because it wasn't quite as much also about, like, it was a little bit more interesting, I think, to read Doctor Strange too, just from like a sociological level, to like think about what they were doing with race and what they were doing with, and this just, I don't know, didn't have quite as much. It was just sort of fun, silly reading. So yeah,
I'd say there is before the Brian Bendis comic started. So this is the series they started around the same time they announced the first movie. There is one that sort of goes into the origins, you could say, of Peter Quill / Star-Lord, where it's about his father and his mother meeting, and it's sort of you got this emotional connection to.
I read that one.
Character, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it sort of grabbed your heartstrings a fair bit in terms of the whole idea of, with the mother and protecting the child, and then having also the father leaving, and sort of him being motivated to go into outer space pretty much.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of similar almost to like Captain Kirk a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah. Especially these most recent Star Trek movies.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what did you think of the first movie? Were you a fan of it? Where would it rank for you on the sort of the other Marvel movies? What did you think of it?
I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was one of those things where I went with pretty low expectations, which I do with all superhero movies, just because I feel like there's a lot of hype around them. They reveal a lot of stuff in the trailers, and there's always 3 trailers, and then they do the TV spots where they reveal a bit more, and then 50 posters, and it just gets a bit much. And so sometimes I feel like if I go in watching it and seeing absolutely everything, I feel like I've seen half the movie, and I might be disappointed. So I went in pretty low expectations in terms of, and I came out of the cinema feeling like I really enjoyed the movie. There's a lot of humor. There was a bit of action, good character moments. Obviously, Rocket Raccoon and Groot, a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed it.
Do you have a favorite Marvel movie you'd say is the one that you like the most?
It's like picking your children. You can't really.
Good answer. Ranking is so hard, but I really enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy very much. It was such a good year for superhero movies that year because you had Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Big Hero 6, and you had X-Men Days of Future Past. So it was just great. Yeah. And so I really liked the thing I bonded to Guardians of the Galaxy with was it felt like Star Wars for me. It felt like a space opera. I kind of felt like Groot was sort of Chewbacca, and then you kind of have 2 Han Solos, but oh well, in Rocket and in Peter, and then you've got Gamora was kind of your Princess Leia, and we didn't have that was a year before Force Awakens came out, so for me, I almost liked it more in that regard as opposed to a comic book movie, and I just thought it was so fun, so entertaining. I loved seeing all these characters together. I loved the soundtrack. I was listening to it all summer, and I don't know. I just really enjoyed it from beginning to end. And it's probably my second or third favorite Marvel movie. My favorite is the Avengers. It'll always be the Avengers, I think, just because that was the one that kind of brought me back into the fold of superhero movies. Because I saw Green Lantern, and after having seen just all these horrible movies, I was like, I'm done. No more superhero movies. I'm done. These are stupid. And then my friends were like, you have to watch the Avengers. It's so good. And I watched it without having seen any of the previous films except for Iron Man, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I loved it. I thought it was fabulous. I thought it was so good. And then I watched the whole series and loved it even more once I understood. And so anyway, I just, that one's my favorite, but I would say Guardians of the Galaxy is probably my third favorite.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I feel like it's because it has such a unique voice.
Yeah.
Like where a lot of superhero films do follow almost a set formula in a way.
Yeah.
This one, while it might be, you can see elements of that formula, it does have its own unique voice with the soundtrack and the way that the characters are done.
Yeah, the colors, just the adventure of it all. It was a space opera.
Yeah,
all
definitely.
These characters going and getting to know each other and forming a group, and so I really enjoyed it. And so I was pretty excited for this new movie to come, but I was trying to moderate my expectations, trying to not, because last year I personally was disappointed in almost all the blockbusters. It's just like a sourpuss or something.
It was a bit weird last year.
Yeah. It's not that they were horrible. Like there were a lot that I was like, it's okay, it's fine. But nothing really excited me except for I honestly really liked Doctor Strange. I really liked Star Trek Beyond, and I really liked Civil War. Those 3.
Yeah.
The rest were all either ones I really didn't like. Really didn't like X-Men Apocalypse, and I really didn't like Suicide Squad. But the rest, I was just kind of like.
Yeah, yeah. I ended up watching Suicide Squad on an airplane. That's
Oh dear.
just interested. I was in it. It's probably best I didn't spend my money.
Yeah, good plan. But yeah, so I'm trying this year to not do that, so that I don't have those expectations, but I was still pretty excited. And I went to a double night screening. So I saw the first movie first, and then I went right to the second movie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so I still love the first movie. It still holds up for me. I still think it's really great. And it's fine. I liked it okay. I didn't love it. I really didn't. What did you think of the second movie?
I enjoyed it, but I can understand, I saw it a week and a half ago now.
Yeah.
In Australia, we got it pretty early on.
Yeah.
We had a public holiday last Tuesday, so I saw it on the Monday night before then. So that was, I guess, the preview night, you could call it.
Yeah.
So I've had some time to have it sink in, and it's a lot that I did like, and then there's some that it just didn't hit the spot, I guess. It's not, by no means, it didn't do anything terribly. It just, there could be some stuff that could have done maybe slightly better.
Yeah.
Or,
So, yeah, so we'll talk more kind of about all of that. But yeah, there were some things I actually thought, I don't know if terrible, that's probably too strong of a word, but there were some things I genuinely disliked that they did. And then there were things that I really liked. And it was just, but I don't know, like I feel kind of, I'm still sort of percolating, and I'm going to wait to kind of give my review because I can't decide because I have you're either smile worthy or you're frown worthy, and I can't quite decide whether.
It's a straight line now.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, but I have a little summary that I wrote for this, and so I wanted to just read it, and then we can kind of talk about the movie.
Yeah, sure.
So bear with me. It's like 4 paragraphs, but I couldn't. There's a lot going on in this film. So anyway, so Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 starts out with the team defending prized batteries for the sovereign race led by Aisha. They are successful and free Nebula as a reward. Rocket steals some batteries, which angers Aisha, and they are chased. Eventually, they're saved by a man named Ego, who is Peter Quill's father. The group splits up, with Gamora, Drax, and Peter going with Ego, and Rocket and Groot guarding Nebula. Meanwhile, Yondu has been exiled from the Ravagers group and is hired by Aisha to capture the Guardians. They capture Rocket, Groot, and Nebula. Yondu's crew thinks he has gotten soft and lead a mutiny led by Taserface. Nebula leaves to kill Gamora, who she hates for the torture Thanos gave her as a child. Groot, Yondu, and Kraglin and Rocket destroy the ship and crew and escape. Ego tells Peter he is a celestial and an entire planet, wishing to expand to more planets. He met Peter's mother and then paid Yondu to collect him after his death, which he never did. He teaches Peter about his powers, and Nebula tries to kill Gamora but fails, and then they see caves full of skulls. Realizing Ego is really a villain. Ego has planted seeds all over the galaxy to try and overtake more planets, but he can't do it without Peter's help. All of his other progeny have failed him. He hypnotizes Peter, and their power starts to enlarge the seeds, killing many. However, Peter is awakened when Ego admits to killing his mother. Ego's empath, Mantis, becomes friends with Drax and eventually warns him of Ego's plans. About then, the team reunites, but just as Aisha and her crew arrive, they fight. Groot sets off the bomb in Ego's brain, killing him, destroying the planet. Yondu rescues Peter and tells him that he saved him from Ego because he loved him as if he was Peter's father. Nebula and Gamora make an uneasy reconciliation, and they have Yondu's funeral attended by his old foe, Starhawk. So there you go. It sounds like a better movie when I read it that way than I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. But okay, so I guess we'll just get started at the very beginning. So we have this setup with this opening scene where you see them guarding or fighting this monster and the setup with Aisha and the Sovereigns. Did you like that opening sequence? Did that draw you in? Did you enjoy that?
I liked it because it was different. Some movies you would start with some big action thing, like, you know, often like the James Bond movies, for instance, do a lot where they have some, you know, you join James Bond and he's on some mission already, and you get some big action piece to get you started. This sort of subverts it a bit by focusing it on, like, it almost going on in the background as such, and you actually just focusing on Groot the whole time, and you're dancing around to ELO, which I thought was quite fun.
Mm-hmm. It was fun.
I reckon, yeah, it worked well for me because it subverted not expectations, but sort of the cliche as such.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
And you can still pick up in the background what's going on, but even at the major focus is Groot being silly pretty much.
Well, it definitely gives you a feel too of what's going to be happening in the rest of the movie, like the fact that he's setting up a speaker there, and there's all this debate about, oh no, that's a good thing to do, no, it's a bad thing to do. You know, kind of it gives you an idea of kind of what we're going to be facing coming up. So,
definitely.
You know, and yeah, Baby Groot I thought was a total win in this. I thought he was so cute, so hilarious, just great.
Oh, definitely, yeah. He stole the show almost.
Yeah, he's one of those characters. It's kind of like Baymax, Big Hero 6. You know, it's just like you just want to like hug him.
And he works so well for merchandising too.
Yeah,
definitely, it was a good choice. He's got the license to print money. He's keeping the baby for one movie.
I know. I kind of when I saw the extra credit scene, I was like, oh, I wish he could just stay Baby Groot forever. We don't need teenager Groot.
Well, that was a good joke, I thought.
It was funny. What did you think of Aisha and the Sovereigns? Did you like them at all?
Well, I guess they're meant to be unlikable. They're sort of meant to be some kind of unlikable utopian kind of thing. I'm more so excited about the reveal at the end, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
I reckon that'll be quite exciting for me. Or at least for me, it's quite exciting.
Okay, yeah, I thought they were kind of bland. I didn't really enjoy them. I didn't feel like they were that necessary. I mean, it would have been fine in this initial setup, but I felt like we could have we already had kind of 2 layers. There's sort of 3 layers of villains in this movie. There's, we find out Ego, and then we have the Ravages, which are basically kind of villainous. And then we have Aisha and the Sovereigns. I don't know. I just feel like it was maybe 1 layer too many.
Yeah. I guess they're probably going to make a bigger deal in the third one, which I'm assuming they're definitely going to make, because it's going to make the second one's going to make enough money to yeah.
There's definitely going to be a third one. James Gunn's already confirmed it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe they'll do something more with it, but I don't know. They just didn't do a whole lot for me. But, and I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, Marvel has such lame villains. I really don't care. But I don't care that they're a formulaic villain. That's what I don't care about. But when they don't really do anything, when they're just kind of boring, then I kind of have a problem with it. But if they're just sort of generic bad guys, I don't really mind that much. If that makes sense. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. Well, I think they would made, at least in the get-go, to sort of be a transitional villain. So it's a threat to push the movie forward.
Yeah. Did you think the Rocket would steal those batteries? Does that fit his character?
Yeah, I reckon he would have stolen them. You know, he likes stealing things. He likes, he's unreliable. I wouldn't rely on him, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
He's, I reckon he would steal the batteries.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seemed obviously it's a really stupid thing to do, but he's not exactly the most intelligent character out there, so I guess it makes sense. But
he's definitely motivated by other things. It's not always so motivated by common sense.
Right. So the next we get to meet Ego and Peter's father. And what did you think of Kurt Russell in the role? What do you think of sort of the setup of that? And also his sort of setup where they have the the CG whatever young Kurt Russell sequence.
Oh, yeah, I was about to mention that. It wasn't very convincing, was it?
No.
It looked like his face was a bit swollen. And
I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like it because I just don't think it's necessary. Like, I don't think anybody cares if you have like a young actor.
Yeah, they could have got.
Nobody cares.
And it wouldn't have been that hard to find a Kurt Russell lookalike. I'm sure there's people walking around, trying to look like what he did in the 80s. And
yeah, I bet he has a grandkid or somebody, that's about that age that would look, close enough.
Yeah, and considering it's only not even 5 minutes worth of the movie, it wouldn't matter too much. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, it freaks me out because there's this movie called The Congress. It's not a great movie. I'd say it's just okay, but it's all about how Robin Wright becomes this this sort of aging actress who's nobody's hiring her for roles, and so she hires off her likeness to be played by a computer generated character.
Oh, really?
It's pretty. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're getting closer every day. The Congress is very scary. Anyway, okay. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think of Kurt Russell though in general in the role? Did you think it was good?
Kurt Russell, I reckon he was all right. It's definitely no Big Trouble in Little China or Thing or anything like that. But it's enjoyable. He was, charismatic in the Kurt Russell kind of sense, and.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like maybe there could have been a bit more to him. It was sort of at least a bit more wow factor to the character itself. I mean, considering it's a living planet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you do kind of feel like, wow, should this be somebody with a little more gravitas? Somebody like, I can't think of a better example, but someone like a Jeremy Irons or somebody like that seems sort of like celestial, like whatever. But it does feel like someone like Peter. I mean, it's in that way, I think it kind of makes sense. They sort of feel like they're the same.
Yeah, and I guess he's meant to sort of be a deadbeat dad in a way. He left and he hasn't got the best intentions. So sort of someone, who's not prim and proper, or he's a bit rough around the edges. It probably works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll talk more about some of the things I didn't like in a second, but for this setup at least, and I was okay with his casting. I didn't have Marvel usually has spot on casting. They rarely where they get that wrong, but. So half the group goes with Ego and half end up with Yondu. And did you like this dividing up the team like that?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It's sort of you always know they'll come back together in the end. So I guess it's a good way of telling two stories at once, especially if if you need some padding as such, or if you can't tell a story where they're all together, it's a good way of having it work.
This to me was the biggest mistake they made. I really didn't like it because, I mean, I respect your opinion, but for me, this was a huge mistake on so many levels because not only did it divide the group into two sections that you're having to keep track of both of these storylines, it gets kind of convoluted that they're all kind of when they all meet up when they do and all this is happening at the same time, but it created a lot of problems, I think, with the narrative because in the original film, the thing that makes it so charming and the reason why I like it is because you have this group that, so like, for instance, if you have this group of 6 people or whatever, and then you might have one Rocket joke, and then you might have a Gamora thing, and you might have a Drax thing. But the problem is when you split it and there's only 3 and 3, then you end up having Drax joke, Drax joke, Drax joke, Drax joke, Drax joke, Drax joke. And then we leave them for a long time. Or Drax emotional moment, and so because you just don't have as many people to focus on. And so you don't get that randomness and that kind of, I don't know.
It's more focused on one thing when it could be more of a mixing pot.
And so like I found myself not being as charmed and getting a little bit more tired of some of these characters. They became more sticky to me because I was seeing more of them. Like, I didn't have that mixture, you know? And so it was like, oh my gosh, we've gotten the same Drax taking everything literally joke like 3 times in a row in one scene, you know? And so, whereas if you had all of them there, that wouldn't happen. And so, or, you know, you get that Groot joke that is like him getting stuff that's so many things, you know, and if there were so many characters there, you would have it be a mixture. Yeah. And like I said, same thing with emotion, you know, you end up with Peter having one emotional scene after another emotional scene after another emotional scene, where if they were all together, it would be a mixture of characters having an emotional scenes. And so I think it really hurt the storytelling. I think it hurt the characters. I think it hurt the humor. I don't know. It just really hurt the movie, in my opinion, that they decided to split up the team. I think that was a horrible choice.
Fair enough.
So that's my biggest problem with the movie, is that they decided to do that. But, you know, that's just me. So anyway, we'll move on. So we get this backstory with Yondu and Starhawk. Starhawk played by Sylvester Stallone, and these other Ravagers. And there's like this code of the Ravagers that we find out the Yondu has broken and something like this. And then there was this whole like mutiny. And did you understand that? Did you get it? Did you like it? What did you think of all that?
I didn't mind it because it did have a payoff in the end with the whole Yondu story. And so I think it worked. When they first introduced Sylvester Stallone's character, Starhawk, in classic Stallone style, I couldn't figure out what he was saying to start with.
I couldn't either. So I was a little bit confused of why Taserface and all of them were mad at Yondu. Like, what did he do? So
it was, so he broke the code, which I think was sort of child trafficking, it sounded like. So when Yondu grabbed Peter and sort of took advantage of him in terms of like pillaging and sort of doing the Ravager stuff. So I'm assuming it sounded like you don't drag children into it.
But why would this have come up just now? I mean, Peter's an old person.
But I think it was just a matter of they happened to run into each other and then it sort of brought up.
Oh, the news was like brought up?
Yeah, it shook things up by seeing each other when they ran into each other on that planet.
Because I assumed this group of Ravagers that had been with Yondu even when Peter was there. So wouldn't they? No?
I guess it's one of those things where you just got to suspend your disbelief a bit. Otherwise, you write yourself into all these issues where, but this guy thinks this and this guy thinks that because of that and that and that.
Fair enough. I was just a little bit confused about kind of the dynamics of the Ravagers, but anyway, I mean, they were kind of fun, I guess. Like, it created a Taserface was kind of
that
fun.
Whole Taserface thing. Yeah, it's almost like taking like comics in the 90s when they had characters that just covered in spikes and they had names like Taserface and things like that. And the whole ridiculousness of it is taking especially now once you're out of that period where you can sort of look backwards and sort of say, wow, that was really dumb. And it's sort of like the whole it's like what a 14-year-old would call a character.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these names sort of feel a little bit like that, you know, like Starhawk and Star-Lord and stuff like that. But even Rocket is a little bit kind of pulpy in that feel.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's a lot of those characters were created like in the 70s where that pulpiness sort of was very much in vogue.
Yeah. So did you like, I think that the joke with Groot getting all the stuff went on a little bit too long, but there were definitely some funny moments in that.
There was some hilarious moments, especially with, was it the thumb or the toe? he brought that in. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was
it did.
really funny.
It did go on a little too long. They could have cut one or two of those things out.
Like the desk. I think they could have took out the desk.
I sort of like the desk. The absurdity of it, where it was creating all that noise. And it's like, why wouldn't they have woken anyone up?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't mind that.
So let's see here. Okay. And you do get to know a little bit more about Yondu in that scene, and him and Rocket bond, which is nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is very much, Yondu was very much a two-dimensional character, or a very undeveloped character in the first one. Mm-hmm. So it's good to see that they added more to him, especially since it's quite a good performance by Michael Rooker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess he's on The Walking Dead or something. I've only ever seen him in these films, and I thought he did a good job. His character, I think, was the best character as far as you really got a solid arc out of his character.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a shame to see that he won't be in the next one. But.
Yeah. So what did you think of Gamora and Nebula storyline in this?
Yeah, I think it needed to be, they needed to have that in there because they had hinted it in the first one, but it didn't really go anywhere. Mm-hmm. It was just sort of, I'm angry at you and you're angry at me kind of thing. And, but there was no real explanation as to why. Yeah. This one was, it sort of, even though they're not really sisters, it sort of gave the sister dynamic, which I reckon sort of worked, and it was sort of this, they sort of did bond over this sort of mutual hate of Thanos.
Well, it was weird. Like, they would go from working together to I'm going to kill you to working together to I'm going to kill you. Yeah. But I was disappointed in Nebula in this because I actually liked her in the first movie, and a lot of people didn't like her in the first movie. But I thought that she was kind of a wounded character. She was sort of interesting compared to Ronan, who was just very like, I'm a one note kind of bad guy. And yeah. I thought that she had a little bit more just to her. And so I was thinking, oh, this would be great. They're going to be using more of her and we'll get to know more of her. But I was disappointed because my faith in her was not proven correct, I don't think. She was very over the top, I thought. Very sort of overcooked, somebody might say, like with the villainy, like, you were always getting your way, kind of a thing.
Well, sometimes if you've been, she's probably been stewing on that for years. So I guess once you actually get the outlet, you probably do act a bit dramatic.
I guess, but sometimes in these type of movies, you've got the villain who's like, I don't know, just trying too hard to sort of be like this evil, devilish kind of character.
Yeah, sometimes it does come off a bit strong, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna get you. It's the last thing I do. And you're like, oh. Especially
if there's a weak motivation.
Yeah. Like, I guess she was mad at Gamora because Gamora, like, Thanos would set up these competitions for them, and if for every one that she lost, then she would have something done to her. Like her.
Yeah, so they'd put something, some bit of metal on her or some kind of augmentation, yeah.
Which is weird because in the first movie, she seemed completely loyal to Thanos, to me. I didn't get any sense of her being angry at him or being, didn't you feel that way?
I got a little bit of that. It was probably more of a necessary evil. I'm pretty sure in the first one she mentioned something to Ronan about if I could get away from Thanos, I would, kind of thing, and I'd destroy him.
Okay, I guess I forgot that.
Memory.
Okay, well, it's just interesting because she's so mad at her about this, letting the blood boil. But I mean, of course, Gamora's going to try to win because if she loses, she's going to have all that horrible stuff done to her.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny, But I thought that was a miss. I thought their plot line was a miss, and unfortunately, it's really the only, aside from a couple scenes of Gamora dancing, it's with Peter. It's really the only thing we get from her in this movie. I think she wasn't as well used as some of the other characters.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe for some reason they find it difficult with Gamora. Like even in the comics, she doesn't get used very often, and it's very much about sort of the anger often is what they use in terms of storylines and.
Interesting. So okay, so we get some more of Gamora and Peter's romance. Did that work for you at all with the dancing and the whatever?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It's sort of they seem to be using the whole 3 movies to sort of really sort of create this sort of romance, build this romance up. It's not like where most Hollywood movies where you get the girl. It's definitely not that kind of deal.
Yeah.
It's a bit more organic. It seems to be like a lot of real life romance where it's not like a flick of a switch where, oh my god, okay, it's time to be romantic now. You know, I've decided that I'm going to be with the guy, I'm going to be with the girl. It's often in these friendship groups where you might know these people for 2 years before something clicks.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a little bit of, I think, a Han and Leia situation going on, you know, where they, in those movies where Han and Leia were kind of back and forth, make each other, you know, miserable and everything like that. So
definitely, very Han and Leia.
And that's a high bar to compare to, but I think that's the direction they were going. So, all right. So we find out that Ego is a Celestial. Is this something that's part of the Marvel, you know, Celestials? Is that something you're familiar with?
Yeah, so it's something that, like, again, a lot of the Marvel space stuff until recently was just used on the very occasion. So they seem to be very much like these space gods kind of deal.
Was it similar at all to the, what's it, Dormammu or whatever it is in Doctor Strange? It's on that planet?
Dormammu.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. No, it's more of like there's sort of these. I think the idea was that they sort of created parts of the universe, or at least populated planets where they had seeds. They go to a planet, they let the seed go, and it sort of the planet would flourish and create life and things like that. I think the most well-known one, I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this, it would be Galactus out of the Fantastic Four. Although his has been subverted, where his is more about taking the planets and for his constant hunger. But I'd have to look that up just to make sure that he actually is a Celestial, because I believe he might not be.
Well, his plan, I thought, was really confusing because so he wants to cover the whole galaxy with his plants. Are these plants going to then create life? Because if he's just going through his own progeny like nothing else, like, well, I guess he's immortal, but it would just be him. He'd just be all alone, covering every planet in the whole galaxy.
Yeah, it's almost like, he wanted to create a network of essentially himself. To be honest, I like a lot of villains, I don't think they think of the consequences. It's just like, this is what I want. This is what I want. I want this.
Take over the whole universe.
I'm going to take over the whole universe and no one can stop me.
Yeah, it's a little much, but okay, yeah, that's funny. And were you suspicious of him early on, or did it surprise you?
Well, I knew that Ego was a villain.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what his goal was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, because he was originally a Thor villain of all people.
Okay.
Yeah, so I knew that he was a villain, but I didn't know what he was going to do. Again, he's one of those characters that, because he's a living planet, there's only so much you can do with him. So he doesn't get used very often. So yeah,
I knew I felt like very early on that he was going to be a villain. And I'm just so tired of the villain reveal. I'm so tired of it. I just want regular villains that are just bad guys, and that, I'm just tired of it. Like I feel like I have seen 10,000 movies in the last couple of years that, whether you're talking Frozen and Big Hero 6 and I mean, Disney does it all the time. And, it's just like, just be a villain, just be like Maleficent or somebody like that, that's like, or Darth Vader or somebody like that who's
from the get-go, yeah.
I'm tired of it. So that's my rant there. No more surprise villains. We are all onto it. We all know.
I mean, maybe it's more for less for the audience sake and more for the character's sake.
I guess.
Although I guess if the characters aren't watching the movie though. So.
But I really miss that sense of like a true menacing villain that's like scary, and you're sort of scared of the whole film, and you're really, that. Like at least, I mean, I don't know, like at least with most of the Batman movies, for instance, most of the Batman movies, they have a villain. I don't think there's been any Batman movies where there's a villain reveal. They're just a bad guy. And
the third Nolan one, there was that introduction of Talia.
Right, but she sucked. She wasn't good at all, in my opinion. So anyway, I'm just tired of that. I really want, like, the X-Men movies typically just have a bad guy. That's what I want. None of this more bad guy in a suit who turns out to be the bad guy from Marvel.
Well, it's almost like the whole Scooby-Doo thing, isn't it? Where there's always someone in a rubber suit. It's always a projector or.
Because like Iron Man 2, I can't remember who the villain. Oh, Iron Man 3 had the worst villain reveal of all, and oh dear. So anyway, that's my little rant about that. I am very tired of that, and I just want traditional bad guys again.
No, fair enough.
There you go. So let's hope that Wonder Woman gets that right. Please. Okay, so did you like Mantis and Drax?
It's an interesting combination, especially since it was in one direction was mostly hurling insults to start with.
Yeah. Did you like it, or?
It got a bit tiresome after a while. It was funny the once or twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Mantis was probably a bit underused or undercooked. She didn't really. She could have done more. She could have been a bit more fully fleshed out.
We could take some of that overcooked from Nebula. Yeah, I agree. And for him being Drax the Destroyer, he really, after that initial monster, he really didn't destroy anything. He was just comic relief the whole movie. I mean, he was in almost no battles.
Yeah. But yeah, apart from that first one, where I guess jumping into that monster was his sort of big battle scene but I guess if that's like in the first 10 minutes of the movie, then you might as well just, you can go on holidays now.
Yeah. So family is a theme of the movie. Peter's love for his mother, Gamora and Nebula as sisters, Yondu and Peter, etc. Did you like that theme?
I mean, it worked. I wouldn't want to do it every movie.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, just sort of having the reveal of the father, and then sort of having that sort of, because he was obviously, he didn't have his parents, he never knew his father. So it sort of worked in that sense for a while.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a lot of bonding. I think they could have done a bit more bonding. So when he did become revealed as a bad guy, it was more shocking. Because it was just, okay, well, you have suspicion. Well, no, I don't think that's right. Kind of deal. So it could have done me better, but it could have been done much worse.
I felt like Vin Diesel was in there being like, make it about family. Because all the Fast and Furious movies.
Yes,
family.
It's the family, with family. A friend of mine actually counted how many times in each movie it said, and I think the one where the final Paul Walker one, it said the most.
Yeah, I'm sure that one did.
Which makes the most sense.
Did you like? This is off topic. Did you like this last Fast and Furious movie?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh.
I think the last the last one I seen was 8.
Okay, well, I won't give you my opinion because I'll let you enjoy it. Okay, so yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought there were some moments with heart that I did really like. I thought that Yondu, one of the sort of themes that I really respond to in media is sort of themes of adoption, themes of like as a single woman, like I do feel like I have an obligation to help kind of co-parent or to help be a good example to children in my life, whether they're necessarily my children. And so it's a theme that I respond to, this idea of sort of parenting the children that are in your life. And so I like this, that you saw with that it's not only sort of family that's I'm married to you, we're blood relatives. It's not just a blood thing. It's it's more than that, which was nice.
Yeah, and in a way, he was essentially his adopted father.
Yeah.
Which for Yondu, and you sort of don't realize that in the first movie, but when it sort of he has all these character moments, and it sort of when you sort of compare the two, the biological father with him, you can tell that even though he's made some mistakes, he's probably the better father.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that didn't quite make sense to me is it seemed like there were moments where in the first movie where he comes awfully close to killing Peter. And if he really felt the way that he felt, you kind of wonder.
I know, maybe just the Ravager lifestyle.
I guess so. He's trying to toughen up his son, huh? I guess.
Yeah. It's tough love.
Yeah. Love, that's right. All right, so yeah, I guess, do you have any other thoughts about Yondu as the sort of he ends up dying in this movie? Was that movie for you? Did you think that was good?
Yeah, well, I didn't expect him to. I thought he was enough of a mainstay that he'd go on to the third movie and be a regular. I liked that they actually, they gave him more of a more character, more time, and I like the bit at the end where his funeral was such, where all the Avengers came out. I thought that was a nice moment.
Yeah, because they really haven't had anybody die in Marvel except for in the MCU, except for they had Agent Coulson in the Avengers. Yep. That was probably the biggest person that died, and then they had crap, now I just forgot it. Quicksilver.
Yeah. And I don't feel like he was developed enough to sort of really be moving.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's no one else I'm missing, right?
I can't think of anyone off the top of my head.
I don't think so. Okay. Let's see here. So there are three, we already talked about this a little bit, where there are three antagonists, layers of antagonists in this movie. You have Aisha and the Sovereigns, Ego and the Ravagers, and Ego and then the Ravagers. I don't know. So you like that pretty well, having those layers?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to add any more layers to it.
No, definitely no more.
It's not an onion.
Yeah.
It worked better than, say, Spider-Man 3, where that was just where they had like multiple villains and they just end up being like a bit of a toilet. This one, because they interacted with each other to a degree. It sort of worked for me.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want to add any more.
Definitely no more. I could have done without Aisha and them. They could have just been a little bit at the beginning, and then you never see them again. But other than that, I was fine. They were fine. So what did you think of the action? Was it exciting? And particularly, I think the highlight for me, at least, of the action was that scene with, I don't know what it's called, but that arrow thing the Yondu has.
Oh, yeah, Yondu's arrow. I don't think it had a name.
And he takes out the whole ship with that. That was pretty cool. I thought that was
I did that.
Good.
Yeah, that was really well done. It was, and it didn't get boring either because they showed it in different angles and different ways. It wasn't like, it was well choreographed. It wasn't like some Hollywood movies where it's just like a Michael Bay. If Michael Bay had directed it, it would have been quick cut, quick cut, quick cut, quick cut, quick cut, shaky cam, quick cut, quick cut, quick cut. No, I reckon it worked well for me.
That's true. Yeah, that is very true. And way more CGI looking, not as tactile feeling.
There would be more explosions too, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Oh dear. Yes, Michael Bay. Okay. And I'm trying to think of, I thought of one. So we have what did you think of the humor? Because again, I thought it was seriously hurt by the fact they split up the group. That really hurt the humor. And I also thought it was kind of raunchy to me. Like, I don't know. I guess, I mean, they're whatever. They should be able to make whatever movies they want to make, and it has a PG-13 rating. But I guess, maybe I'm just a prude, but to me, I thought it was unnecessary, and I didn't like it personally. It's just my personal taste, but I didn't like them having a joke about masturbation. I didn't like them having a joke about him being engorged. I didn't like having a joke about using other anatomy. I don't know. I thought they crossed a lot of lines, and him talking about being with all these women and I don't know. I didn't like it. That's
that's fair enough. I reckon some of the jokes did land better than others. I didn't mind the one where he asked if he had a penis. I just thought it was just a bit, it was ridiculous. But I mean, maybe that's just my kind of humor. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just sort of, it's like the kind of inappropriate question you're not meant to ask.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it fit his character and all, but I don't know. I guess for me, I just get frustrated because I feel like kids used to be able to go to superhero movies. Superhero movies used to be for kids. And now, even in Power Rangers, like I liked the Power Rangers movie actually pretty well, but you couldn't take a kid to that. I wouldn't. Absolutely not. I mean, there is a masturbation joke in there. There's a lot of, crude humor. There's violence, pretty strong violence. What happens with the bad, I can't think of her name, the Rita Repulsa is pretty violent. And so pretty scary, for little kids. And so, I don't know, it just bums me out because I just feel like, boy, kids, you've got Batman killing, you've got Superman dying, you've got just everything. Like, kids used to be able to go to Superman movies and Batman movies, and they used to be able to have superheroes. And now it's just, I don't know, it's just tough. If I was a parent, I would have a hard time with, these choices.
Definitely. Anyway. Lucky there's like Big Hero 6 and like Lego Batman. So yeah. And I guess Lego Batman did well enough that there's probably going to be more animated superhero movies down the line, hopefully.
Yeah, probably, but it didn't do as well as they thought it would do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was quite a bit lower than the original Lego movie, which was surprising to me. With it being Batman, I thought it would do better, but it did well, but it didn't do great. What they were saying.
Maybe not expectations.
Yeah. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see how Lego Ninjago does. But I don't know. Like, I love movies like The Rocketeer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't think a superhero movie has to be have mature content. I think you make a good superhero movie that the whole family can go to.
Yeah. I feel like I think it's a studio thing. where for some reason I feel like superheroes have to be grim and gritty and dark and violent. It becomes and often it doesn't work well. It can come off like grim and gritty in the juvenile sense.
Yeah.
Where it's grim and gritty for the sake of grim and gritty. But hopefully it's not, it should be certain characters, it works fine. Certain characters, it shouldn't be touched with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's very, very true. So anyway, but I did find there were many funny jokes, and I did laugh quite a bit, especially Baby Groot. Anything with him made me laugh. I thought he was so good. So I don't want you to think I didn't laugh, because I did. I did think it was
there's plenty of good jokes in there.
Yeah, there was. And I thought that I did think that Drax had some fun jokes. I thought that even Star-Lord, I thought they all had some fun jokes. Rocket had some fun jokes. So I liked the joke when it was a nice callback when he wants them to get the eye, from
that's right.
The first one.
That's right.
Okay, so what did you think of this soundtrack? It was a huge part of the first one. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one. I feel like the first one had a lot of warmth, a lot more recognizable songs for me.
Yeah.
Just because the 70s is not my era by any means. Although the inclusion of Electric Light Orchestra, I quite enjoyed that. Mr. Blue Sky at the start, I really enjoyed that. It put a smile on my face. But the references to the other songs, especially that one that he was talking to his father about, because I have no connection with that song, it didn't work for me. But
the Brandy
it would work for other people, yeah.
It was a little on the nose. And, when you have... It's kind of annoying in a movie when you have a song that, like, say somebody's climbing a mountain and you have a song that's saying, except for Sound of Music, that's the only time you can do it. But other than that, like, if you don't want to have a song singing about climbing a mountain when they're climbing a mountain, that's just too on the nose. Like, it just becomes kind of annoying. And so some of them were a little on the nose, and I thought the Brandy song was a little on the nose, even though I like that song. It's like it literally spells out everything that happens in their life. It's a little.
Yeah,
it might have been more interesting to pick a song that maybe was a little bit more. They had to dig a little bit deeper to find that meaning, a little bit more. And really, in the first movie, aside from him enjoying, I don't think he actually talked about any of the songs. The songs were just there to enjoy, and him listening to it. You saw him listen, but it wasn't like he was commenting on the songs.
No, it wasn't like, the first one, the way he was talking about the Listen Mix Volume 1 and how much a fan he was.
Yeah. And, well, here you got the return of the Zune. That was very exciting.
Yeah, I thought I'd see those again.
Yeah, that was funny. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, and the fact that he was so excited about 300 songs.
Yeah.
300 songs.
Did you have a Zune at all back in the day?
No, they didn't really come to Australia.
Okay.
You could buy them, but everyone was more into the iPods and the creative Zens.
I didn't have a Zune, but my dad, I think, did, or somebody in my house did, and they thought they were really cool. It's back when, because they were a lot smaller, because the iPods were pretty thick back then. I guess they're similar size to a Walkman, so it makes sense, but anyway, the Zunes were a little bit smaller, and they could hold all these songs, and so it was very exciting. But I'm amazed he could find a place to, like, charge that thing. Like, that's gonna be the challenge.
Yeah. Well, maybe they have USB ports in space.
Yeah, maybe. I don't even know if Zune used USB. I think it's like, I don't even think it's that sophisticated. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, so Yeah, it was fine. I enjoyed it. I actually have it downloaded, and I liked the Fleetwood Mac song a lot. I thought that really worked. But it wasn't as good. It just wasn't as the first one. No. So let's talk about the other aspects. So you got the world building and special effects. And I remember, go back. So one thing I did want to talk about, which I thought was kind of interesting, is that, Marvel fans, well, just a lot of fans in general, really complain about the DC movies and all of the carnage that you see in those movies. And in Man of Steel, when they're taking down and I'm one of them. I thought it was so long and so excessive that they destroy all the Smallville practically, and then they just take down like huge chunks of Metropolis, and it just becomes sort of to me. And so I've been those ones, but here you have like this blue goo stuff, like taking down whole cities, like there's just swallowing buildings. And so I'm wondering, is that a little bit hypocritical of Marvel fans to just be like, oh, this is a happy, fun movie when literally like millions of people died?
Well, I don't know. I guess it doesn't become the whole basis of the movie, where in Man of Steel, the destruction became so much part of the movie. It was also almost in a way for some people like one of the reasons to go see it. People go, oh, whoa, look at this building explode. It's like going to a Michael Bay movie. But this one, it was like, it's only a couple seconds of footage, really.
Yeah.
If you go look back.
I agree with you. I was just curious because it's like, am I giving them a pass? Because they do, and certainly X-Men Apocalypse, that's not the same Marvel, but, whole cities are just like crumpled to the ground. And same thing here, in that you just see whole buildings just swallowed up. And I like it, like that you've got this mass destruction, and there's people out there like taking selfies and stuff. Go away. So I
guess that's a comment on society, really. The people too busy to run away as they want to be self-obsessed with this. So I need to be with the blue goop. It's like when you go overseas and you're at the Eiffel Tower or something, and everyone's taking selfies at the Eiffel Tower as opposed to just looking at it.
Right. Yeah, I guess you're right. Like it becomes a question of sort of the amount that you use it and the sort of the tone that you're able to create in the film. And it doesn't have anything to do with the DC movies being dark. That's what people always say. Because darkness, you can have an incredibly hopeful movie that is dark. Like, in my opinion, Nightmare Before Christmas is actually a very hopeful movie. Or a lot of the early Tim Burton, even though I know he didn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas, but a lot of the early Burton stuff, like Edward Scissorhands, is dark, but it's also very hopeful, and there's a hopeful tone to it. So they're not necessarily... it's not necessarily saying that you have to make everything happy and joyful and whatever. It's saying that you have to control your tone.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You got to control the tone, and you got to. It's all about how you implement it as well.
Yeah.
And I guess almost the consequences of it too.
Yeah, and I think this does control tone really well, just like all the Marvel movies do. They do a great job with that. They know how to do it. So, all right. Let's just hope Wonder Woman, please.
Well, so far it sounds like it's been pretty positive so far from early reviews or early screenings.
I want it to be good so bad. I really, really do. So anyway, did you like the world building of the celestial planet, of some other stuff, the special effects? What do you think? Yeah,
I like the world building. It made the whole Guardians of the Galaxy sort of section of the Marvel Universe much larger. I feel like, it could be one of those things where it's relegated to a corner and you end up going to the same places over and over again. But, they're jumping to different planets, they're seeing different alien races, introducing new characters, it's just getting larger. It's creating its own corner, but without it being sort of, I don't know, without being, how to describe it, it's its own point. But yeah,
it wasn't as visually amazing as Doctor Strange.
No, but I guess Doctor Strange is very psychedelic in that sense.
Mm-hmm. But I really enjoyed it. I thought the cinematography was really good. I thought all of I personally didn't see like a lot of green screen or it looking kind of like it felt real. And certainly all of the CGI with Rocket and Groot and some of the other characters looked great. They looked
definitely,
real.
Yeah. You almost forget that they are
yeah.
CG, yeah. And they interact with the characters so naturally too. Yeah,
agreed. So, and I liked all of the voice work, and it's kind of hilarious to hear that, they still had that's got to be the easiest paycheck Vin Diesel ever cashes.
Yeah.
But I guess he does the foreign dubs or whatever. Yeah. And I'd love to hear those, him doing, what is it, like, he goes soy Groot or whatever. That would be great in other things. But here it was even more because I guess they sped him up so he could be Baby Groot.
Yeah.
That was really cute. But Rocket I thought was good. I thought Bradley Cooper did a good job.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. He very much owns that character now.
Yeah. So let's see here. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Just one more thing on that I Am Groot. I just looked up on IMDb. Apparently, he says I Am Groot 13 times in this movie. So really? It's a very easy paycheck. I guess he does do some motion capture stuff involved with Groot, so he is doing the actions as well to a degree.
For Baby Groot too?
I'm not sure. I know in the first one he definitely did, but
yeah, I know in the first.
Maybe I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to know. Yeah, but hey, he gets it done, I guess. That must be the kind of thing that just drives professional voice actors crazy, when it's like, this is my living, this is my craft. I worked my whole life to, perfect this and craft this, and you get Vin Diesel saying, "I am Groot."
I guess he's got to say it in different ways. So I wonder how many takes he has to do for that.
Yeah.
It's like I wonder if it's like that joke in The Simpsons, the radioactive man movie in Millhouse has to say Jiminy Jillikers for 4 hours.
That's right. Well, so I would say all in all, the positives of this movie for me, I'm sorry if I came off as too negative because I do have positives, but I did think that it was funny. I really liked Baby Groot. I thought it looked really nice. I thought overall it was entertaining, but
definitely, yeah.
It was just a big step down for me from the first one. The first one for me, I would give an A, maybe even. It's one of my favorite comic book movies, so I would even flirt with maybe giving it an A+. I love it. I think it is so entertaining and so funny and such a great space opera and refreshing, something different from the Marvel Universe. And so I love it. And so for me to give this one a C+ is a big step down, but C+ is technically fresh. It's like the difference between me giving it a 9 out of 10 or 9.5 out of 10 and a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
So it's not a failure. It's not like I'm giving it a 3 or 2 or whatever. But I when I really thought about it, I think that it would be in my bottom 3 Marvel movies. I think that that I would put Iron Man 3, Iron Man 2, and the Incredible Hulk. And then so this would be my 4th least favorite Marvel movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think that Thor: The Dark World is a better movie. I think particularly because of Loki and his sort of experience in that movie and what he has to go through with his father and his, and then the loss of, and Thor's loss of his mother. And I think there's more emotion in that movie. And I think those 2 actors are so good. And it's a good story that I think makes up for its flaws. So my opinion, and I certainly like Ant-Man and Doctor Strange much better than this. So I think that all the Captain America movies are better than this. So yeah, that's where I would put it. I would put it pretty low, but I would give all of the Marvel movies. I would give. I don't think they've made a horrible movie yet. Like
no, definitely not. No,
yeah, like a
there's
Batman and Robin or something.
Yeah, there's no absolute stinkers. There's ones that you definitely enjoy more than others, and some that it's not your jam. But yeah, no stinkers in the lot there.
Yeah. So I guess this one is just like you're saying, not what I just enjoyed a little bit less, and because I enjoyed the first one so much, feels like a disappointment. But it's not a horrible movie. It is enjoyable to watch, and it does have humor. I like the characters. I like the cinematography. It's in the action's pretty fun. There are fun elements. It was a bit of a disappointment because of how much I love the first.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So
I'd agree with that. I'd probably give it a 7. Just for the similar, yeah. I mean, there's a lot to enjoy, but then some of it's not done as well as it could be.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're just basically very close to me. I'm 6, you're 7. So together we're 6.5. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. What would you give the first one, you think, out of 10?
Probably an 8.5.
8.5. Sounds good. So we would be like an 8.7.
8.7.
So that's all the questions I have. That's everything for this. Do you have anything else you want to talk about in the film?
So what do you think of the closing credits and the fact that there was 5?
It was a lot. I was okay with it, but we should talk for a second. There were some fun cameos in the movie.
Yes, I was going to mention that too. Yeah,
that was fun to see. Howard the Duck. Speaking of horrible Marvel movies, Howard the Duck was a whore. Yeah. Was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I watched it just because people were like, you got to see it, how bad it is. And it's, oh my gosh, it's so bad. But it was fun to see him in this.
Yeah, it was good. And seeing Cosmo again from the first one, the space dog.
Oh, yeah. That was fun. I'm sure there's so many cameos.
Oh, well, did you know some celebrity cameos in the end credits as well? Oh,
in the end credits? Yeah. I heard that Miley Cyrus is in there. What the heck is that?
Well, I didn't see her. Well, maybe she was in a costume or something like that, so I didn't. Because I don't follow Miley Cyrus very often, I'm not like, oh my god, but
we
there was.
No, you had your eyes peeled.
There was definitely the Hoff was in there.
Oh,
Hasselhoff popped up.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. That was kind of awkward, I felt like, David Hasselhoff. I felt like, because that was a pretty poignant moment. And for them to make a joke out of it, I don't know. What did you think? Did you like that? I mean, it was funny, but it was also it seemed a little out of place. No?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I mean, you wouldn't want to go back to that well again, though. We could, one Hasselhoff is enough.
Okay. Sounds good.
But did you know, so Jeff Goldblum's character, he's going to be the next Thor movie, popped up as well in one of those circles?
Oh, yeah. I remember. I was like, oh, that's weird. I'm actually pretty excited for that just because I love the director so much.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's great.
And I loved it. Did you ever watch those Thor, what we're doing during Captain America, during Civil War?
No,
you still haven't seen it?
No.
It's so funny. Oh, I thought I'd sent them to you. You got to see it. They're so hilarious. There's on these 2 shorts of what Thor is doing during Civil War. Funny.
I've heard of him. I just haven't seen him.
Yeah, he's got this roommate named Daryl, and he's like really driving Daryl crazy. It's really funny. And he's kind of upset that that Tony is calling Bruce, but not calling him. He's like, anyway, you got to see it. But so I'm excited for that. I do think that the costumes look really strange, but I just believe in this director, so I feel like it will be good.
I've got high hopes for it. Yeah, I feel like that could be the best one. You never know; that could end up being the best one for the year of the superhero movies.
Yeah. It's I I'm thinking, because I thought for sure that Guardians of the Galaxy was going to make the most money for the summer. But after this, I don't feel like this is the kind of movie that people are going to see over and over and over and over again.
No.
I don't. I mean, I feel like most of the people I know, they like it. They think it's fun, but they're not like in love with it. And I don't know. I just don't think it's the type of movie that you're going to go to a lot. But I think Spider-Man is going to take the summer now.
I think it is, yeah. I think Spider-Man's going to be the one that's going to bring in people from all ages.
Yep.
Especially since you have a young Spider-Man.
Yep.
A very young Spider-Man. You're going to bring in a lot of teenagers. You're going to bring a lot of kids in. And
yeah.
It's going to bring, and being Spider-Man, being such brand recognition, it's going to bring a lot of people in.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see it multiple times. Plus, it's the July 4th weekend. It's like a huge weekend for a holiday and stuff like that here in the States. So anyway, so I'm like, oh, I got that wrong because I had it at third, Spider-Man Homecoming, but I'm pretty sure it'll be number one. Although I think there's a possibility if Wonder Woman is good, that could surprise everybody too. So hope it's good.
Hopefully.
Anyway,
I definitely don't think it's going to flop. I feel like it's going to, especially if it has good reviews, it's going to bring a lot of people in.
Well, I mean, none of the DC movies have flopped. They've just been less successful than they wanted.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Batman versus Superman should have made Jurassic World money. I mean, if you make them like it should be the cost, the price of the Nolan Batman, like the third Nolan Batman plus Man of Steel. That's what it should have made in the box office.
Yeah, it should have been Avengers money. It should have made 1.4, something around there, billion, and it didn't even crack a billion.
No, I think it got to about 800.
Yeah. Anyway, so was there anything else you want to talk about? Or I guess the credits. We still haven't talked about it. We got distracted. Okay, so the post-credit scenes. What we had, you had the scene with Aisha.
Yeah. So that's the one I was most excited about.
Yeah. So she's she's created this Atom.
Yeah.
Character.
So that's Adam Strange. He's another one of these Marvel spacey characters, but he comes from more the psychedelic era of Marvel in the 70s, where it's just the second generation of Marvel creators. Most of them much younger than Stan Lee at the time. They were a bit, I guess you could say, stoner, a bit more stoner, because it was that early 70s, late 60s era. But the elevator pitch for this character is like he's the spacey Marvel space Jesus Christ superstar in a way.
Oh, okay.
Very psychedelic, flying through outer space kind of thing. So I'm excited to see where they take him with that.
Oh, cool. I didn't realize any of that. I just thought, it's like, I thought it was like Adam and Eve kind of thing, like creating Adam.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I thought of. Like, not literally, but I thought that was an allusion to Adam, kind of.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
And so then we had, after that, I should have written this down, sorry. You had Sylvester Stallone's character.
That's right.
Let's see. What did he do? I can't even remember. Do you remember?
No, I don't think that one was particularly memorable from memory.
No, just does something. Let's see. So here they've got it on Wikipedia. So he inspires, reunites with Aisha creates a new artificial being. And then we have the Stan Lee.
Oh yes, that's right.
As this astronaut, and evidently he's like one of the Watchers.
Yes, so that's the one that Stan Lee's Jack Kirby creation, where the idea, which I found that quite amusing, but a Stan Lee creation like that was with Stan Lee. So, but the whole idea that they just watch the universe and observe, part of their code is that they're never meant to get involved. Although throughout the years, there's always been this one night, on the occasion, and it's going to be one of those things where We did do it once where they did actually act in. They didn't just deserve. They actually did something, and that then it sort of they went to that well a couple times, and it sort of loses impact. But because it's actually meant to be quite powerful in terms of resolution, but they're essentially just meant to watch and observe and sort of record what's going on in the world. But it's nice to see Stan Lee of all characters with Stan Lee.
Yeah, I guess they like filmed like a whole bunch of Stan Lee cameos, so they've got him like stockpiled.
Oh, I think they've have to.
He's old. He's like
he's
years old.
Yeah, he's getting into his mid-90s. He's not going to be around forever.
Right. Well, he was going to come to Salt Lake Comic-Con, and then he ended up canceling because of health. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think. Shoot, I should have written. Do you remember that? So let's see. We've talked about Sylvester Stallone one, Stan Lee one.
Teenage Groot.
Oh, yeah. That's the other one. That was pretty funny.
That was funny.
So, yeah,
can Peter understand him? I feel like there's no indication in the first one. Definitely, he never understood what Groot was saying, and in the second one, throughout the movie, there's no indication that he knows what Groot's saying at all.
Yeah.
But in this particular scene, it sounds like he's sort of the way he's talking to him. He knows what he's talking about.
I mean, I guess once you like raise something, I guess maybe you pick up on the language. I don't know.
I don't know, maybe.
Maybe. But I did notice that was pretty funny. He's like, clean up your room. Sounds like me in high school, my mom in high school. Clean up your room. So, I think that was all of them, right?
Yeah, I think that was all.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining me on this.
No worries. It's fun.
If you're watching, put down what you thought of the movie, things you liked, things you didn't like, and where you're at on it. And so where can people reach you? We'll find you.
Before I say anything, just a reminder, it's actually Free Comic Book Day.
I
guess in the US, it'll be tomorrow. Australia, you probably just missed out. But there is actually a Guardians of the Galaxy comic that you can get for free. And it's a split comic. So in the first half, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's promoting, I guess, the brand new series that they've launched this week. But in the back, if you're a Marvel Netflix fan, there's also Defenders as well.
Well,
so,
I'll put a link, and you can find in the description section, you can find your local comic book store, and it's definitely support your local comic book stores. And
definitely.
So I'm glad you mentioned that very much. I'm going to be going.
Awesome. So you mentioned where you can find me. So you can find me at howtolovecomics.com. It's also How to Love Comics on Facebook and How to Love Comics on Twitter as well. If you want to annoy me or pester me or talk to me or say that I'm wrong, say that I'm right, you can also find me at Trevor Van Az on Twitter.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and we will hopefully be able to get together again soon.
Yeah, definitely. It was all fun. Thank you very much.
Very fun.